Oops. Wow, I just started it by knocking those over.
Jeez. Welcome to Driven by Details. We have a special episode this week. Maddie is on assignment with Davey P up in Michigan doing a car, getting his butt kicked, I heard. So they're not Maddie is unable to join us today, but I am on location in Ohio with WD Detailing. With Brent, one of the two, Batman and Robin. Who is Batman and who is Robin?
I would consider myself to be Batman.
Okay, this is Batman here, Brent.
I think RJ would say he's Batman,
All
so
right.
We can fight over it.
So these two gentlemen, we've actually, I had RJ, rewind a little bit, I had RJ come out to Seattle with me and Shine Doctor, and he did a class. And about last year, we've reconnected over the phone and things like that. And we were actually starting to do a podcast, but you guys are so busy, you don't have time to do that. So they brought me out to help them on a couple special projects where they need a little tune-up. Because I always say tune-up.
Okay.
So you got to say tune-up.
Try it. Tune-up.
Well,
I like saying hammer down.
Hammer down, you like that?
Yeah, I've been saying it the entire time you've been
catchy.
here.
It's catchy. So, Brent.
Yes.
How did you start social media?
So WD Detailing, what we do basically is satisfying detailing content on every platform. We take cars out of barns that haven't been touched in 20, 30 years, try to bring them back to life to the best of our abilities and document it. So if we're able to get a reaction from somebody who hasn't seen their car clean in that amount of time, that's really what we do it for. And I actually have been doing social media since about 2010, 2011. And I started all the way back with Call of Duty, actually. Sure. And YouTube was actually the first platform that I ever used.
Wow. Okay.
I made a Call of Duty YouTube channel when I was 16 years old, and I just fell in love with editing instantly. It was
Are you self-taught?
Yeah, I'm completely self-taught. I actually went to college for graphic design and for editing.
Okay.
And I actually found when I was in school that I was a little bit more advanced than the other people in my classes.
Is that because you had done it for so many years previously?
Yeah, I'd say that. And I'm also a quick learner. So you combine the two, and that's pretty much how that happened.
Sure. So you did social media through high school, into college. What did you do after college? Did you go to community college? Or?
Yeah. So I went to a community college. I never had an exact path coming out of high school with what I wanted to do with my life. And I figured the best thing to do at the time was just go to community college and hopefully figure it out as I went, you know?
Cool.
And that's kind of why I got into the social media thing. Actually, originally with editing, I wanted to work on movies.
Oh, really?
That was like my dream. My dream was to make a Transformers movie. That's what I always wanted to do.
Okay, that's cool.
I never thought I'd be doing what I am now.
When did you want to do Transformers?
This is back in like beginning of college when I was 18 years old, so maybe 2013.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny if you think about it. What you're doing now is transforming an old vehicle into something that's way better.
And it's cars.
Yeah, so theoretically, I mean, they're not robots, but you're kind of living out your dream, I suppose.
That's a good point. I've never even thought of that.
Yeah. So you're the Batman of the Robin. So who is Robin, and how did you guys meet?
Robin is RJ. RJ and I actually went to high school together. I'm about a year older than him, so he was a grade below me. And we actually didn't even realize this until about a year of working together. But in high school, we went to the same recreational community center, and we would play basketball together. And neither of us really have a recollection of that. But we found Facebook messages to each other this is like 2011. And we were talking about playing basketball together. We don't remember it.
Small world.
And then he's always been friends with my sister's friend group.
Okay.
So I knew of RJ. RJ and I didn't really talk. We didn't have any there was no mutual reason for us to be friends because we never grew up or anything together. So I kind of ran into him again after not seeing him for a while. We had a college class together. It was a business class. And I actually remember, the only thing I remember from this class, and really the only thing I remember from a lot of college, is RJ was in that class. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, we didn't really have like a connection or friendship relationship or anything. But I remember us having to do a project. And what she wanted was us to come up with a business plan for some sort of business that we would do in the future.
So you and him were partners on the project?
We weren't. It was, everyone had to do their own business plan.
Oh, okay.
Mine was probably something random. I don't even remember. But I specifically remember his being wanting to do a mobile detailing business. He didn't have a detailing business yet.
Okay.
But I remember him doing that, and I thought it was so cool because I'd never had a car detailed at the time. I was younger. I never took my car to get detailed by anyone. I just cleaned it myself.
Yeah.
But I remember that, and then I hadn't seen him for years. And then in 2019, I was working for my stepdad at his putt-putt driving range place. This was after about 4 years of working there, and I decided that where am I going to go in life working there? My favorite car has always been the Subaru WRX. I know this is a little bit off topic, but it goes together.
Comes into cars, yeah.
So my favorite car was the Subaru WRX, and I always wanted it, and I never knew how I would be able to afford it. And I figured working with cars was the way to get that goal. So I knew RJ was doing detailing, and I saw some videos of it on YouTube, and I decided to just message him on Instagram, and say, hey, if you ever need a hand, I would love to learn how to detail. And he instantly responded and was like, yeah, I would love to bring you in and teach you what I know. And
now his detailing, he was mobile detailing, I take it?
Yeah.
It was called Wagner Detailing?
Yeah, it was Wagner Mobile Detailing.
Okay, so that brings up, did we go over what WD stands for?
Actually, I don't think most of our subscribers or most people even know what WD stands for. It is on the top of our YouTube page, but it stands for Wagner de Cesar.
And
so,
sorry, I'm botching your last name.
Most people do.
That's your last name, I
Yeah.
take it? Okay.
My last name is de Cesar, his is Wagner.
Okay.
We just came up with it. and that's how we
WD,
got
it
WD.
works. I actually was like, last night, I was at the hotel and I'm like, WD. Oh, de Chesner. Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You just said it wrong again.
I know. Don't even yeah, it's a long story. So, okay. So, present day, so when did you fully start and go, when did you start the disaster thing? I mean, obviously it's a big thing now, and you've been actually very successful. You've actually skyrocketed your members, or your followers, your subscribers. When was that thing where you decided, yeah, let's go down this rabbit hole?
When it came to YouTube, we had been working together. I was working for him for about half a year.
Okay.
And January of 2020 came around, and we were like, hey, let's just start filming our details, see if we can put it on the internet, and see if anyone wants to watch it.
And was this disaster at the time, or was this regular details?
I think we started right away with what we considered a disaster.
Yeah.
Nothing like what we're doing now.
Yeah.
This was more like our first detail was my stepbrother's car. He's a college hockey player.
Okay.
So imagine like a college hockey player's gross car. We considered that a disaster. Now what we're doing is completely, totally different level.
Sure.
But we posted our first video. It started out pretty slow, and then 4 videos in, we did a muddy Jeep. The whole outside was covered in mud. The whole inside was covered in dog hair. After about, I think it was 2 or 3 months, the video got to 1 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
And that's kind of when we started realizing there was something there. So we just kept it going, kept looking for these disaster details, and reaching out to people and doing the worst of the worst that we could.
That you could find at the time.
That we could find, yeah.
Yeah, because, so that was in February of 2020, and then RJ came out to a class with me and Shine Doctor in August, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and like I mentioned to you, I didn't even know what he was going to Seattle for.
Sure,
He just told me, he said, I'm going out to Seattle for, I don't know if it was a week or...
basically a long weekend for him.
A weekend?
Yeah, I think he left on a Thursday and flew back on a Monday.
Yeah, he didn't even tell me what he was going for, I don't think. He was just like, I'm just going to Seattle. And lo and behold, it's created this really cool friendship.
Yeah, and I remember he was a really nice, polite kid. And he was like, yeah, I have a detail channel. I'm like, on what, YouTube? He's like, yeah. And I said, what's it called? He's like, WD Detailing. I'm like, I'll check it out that night. I'm like, 45,000, that's cool. And I yelled to, I specifically remember this. I was on the passenger door of this destroyed red Silverado for DNR, which is Department of, they do fires and things like that. And it was beat up. And RJ was sanding the passenger door. And I was like, hey, Steve, you know we can make money at this YouTube thing? And he was just like, yeah, right, whatever. You know, I think at that time, you had like 45,000 followers or subscribers. And, you know, RJ was like, well, we're just having fun and doing what we're doing and see where we go, you know. And now, present day to today, how many followers or subscribers do you have?
I think we're somewhere in the range of 460,000, so almost 10 times that much.
So, and we're talking like 3 years.
Yeah,
less than 3 years. Two and a half years at max. Where was the explosion?
It's come in waves, honestly. So the first explosion that we saw was when we took on a disaster detail. A woman called RJ, just said, hey, I have some mold in my car. And she was 10 minutes away from where we are now. And can you detail it for me? He's like, hold on, can you send me some pictures? And she did, and we saw the inside of this car, top to bottom, whole thing's covered in mold. And no one at the time had posted a car on YouTube that was like a biohazard, moldy, whatever.
Yeah.
So we were...
And for good reason. It's not good, guys.
It's not.
Yeah, it'll get you very sick.
Yeah, it's very dangerous to work with.
Yeah.
But no one had done that at the time that I remember. Maybe Mad Detailing had.
Sure, okay.
But other than that, it was very untouched. So we were like, let's go film this and see what happens. After posting it, literally a few hours in, we saw it explode. After, I don't remember how long it took, but at this present time, it's at 13 million views.
And what car was it?
It was a Chevy Malibu.
Okay.
So it was nothing crazy. It's not like it was a disaster barn find or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was just a moldy Malibu. We ended up gaining somewhere in the realm of 150,000 subscribers just from that video.
After that, did the light bulb come on? Like, I think we're onto something.
Yeah. I think that's the one that really showed us that not only are we kind of headed in the right direction that we want to be in, but we can actually turn this into something more than just a hobby.
Yeah. See, it's interesting for me because I come from the complete opposite end of detailing, of the highest of high, the cream of the crop, and you're essentially doing it on film for entertainment purposes, right? So I think that's so fascinating for me to see that, and I enjoy actually the disaster details. I've done a few in my career, and I showed you that Charger Daytona that I did. The barn was actually collapsing on it too, but I didn't have YouTube, and I didn't have a camera. And back in the day when I was doing my high-end cars, I had a Kodak, wind-up camera. And we take it to the film shop and have the photos blowing up. That's all. We didn't have iPhones and all that good stuff. So I think from being essentially a generation older than you, the industry has changed so much, and technology and being technologically savvy and knowing what your generation and younger generations are looking for, and really you're satisfying. It's not just detailing, you're filling a void for people, and I've read some of your comments. that you talked and I suffer from anxiety, and you said that you struggle with that too, and your viewers have told you that as well.
Yeah.
Like you're feeling a void maybe, or a low spot in their life, and you're giving them something to look forward to.
Yeah. So I love that you brought that up, because that's one of the most important things to me. I started struggling with anxiety in 2015. So this is before detailing for me.
Sure.
This is before all that. And it was to the point where I couldn't leave my house for weeks at a time. I couldn't leave my bedroom. I couldn't eat dinner with my family because of my anxiety being so bad and my panic disorder being so bad. I lost a lot of friendships.
Sure.
And I just completely cut myself off.
I get it.
And I love the fact that I still struggle to even comprehend that what we do helps people get through the day when they're having those moments that they feel like uneasy, or they feel like anxiety coming on, or even just fall asleep. Some people have a lot of trouble falling asleep.
Yeah, I do.
Our
for
videos help calm them and help them fall asleep.
You can't put a price on that.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
You can't put a price on it. So one thing that I'm going to work on with you is getting you on an airplane, because you do not like airplanes.
Yeah, that's a huge one for me.
We'll get you on that. Don't worry about that. I'll be like, have you ever watched A-Team?
No.
Do you even know what A-Team is?
I do, but I've never seen it.
So Mr. T was afraid of airplanes, so they would drug him, and then knock him out, and then drag him on a helicopter or an airplane, and then he'd wake up in like mid-flight and go, "Where am I?" So yeah, we're gonna Mr. T you.
It would be cool, because then we can start collaborating on barn finds throughout the country, and maybe even across the seas.
And that's the cool thing about vintage cars and old cars. There are cars in every square inch of this country.
Yeah.
Up into Canada, down into Mexico. You go to Cuba, they're still running around in 1950s and 60s cars, because that's all they have on the island.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're working on them and fixing them, not present day, because it was a communist country.
Okay.
So yeah, there are a lot of barn finds, and me and RJ were talking about it. Man, you can learn so much from just the history of cars. We are America. We are a car culture. Hot rods and old cars made this country. You look at Ford and the Industrial Revolution. Cars are a huge part of this country and what we stand for.
Yeah.
So we can go on and on about that, but we're getting about middle of the podcast, and tell us about kind of maybe a secret giveaway that we're doing.
Oh, you mean the Bauer signed polishers?
Yes.
Okay, so if you guys head over to our YouTube video, we mentioned that Jason here, you used some polishers that we bought at Harbor Freight to show that you can do these cars with Harbor Freight tools. You signed them, and we're going to give them away on our YouTube. And all you have to do is message us on Instagram at wd.detailing, the word
chips. And I will tell you real quick, right behind the camera, we've been going to Chipotle every day now for 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and I will munch down a bag of chips by myself. We got some guacamole, and RJ went in to go get the guacamole and bring it out of the fridge, and lo and behold, Killmer ate all the chips. So the key word is chips. To have a signed, we have 2 polishers. One's a rotary and one's a DA, long throw DA. And I will sign those because I'm a big proponent of Harbor Freight. I actually enjoy going to Harbor Freight with my son. So yeah, we went to Harbor Freight and bought some things and did some things and had some fun.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, you've made it a legitimate business now.
Yeah.
And cars are your passion, and business and editing is your passion. You're very good at it. You're very talented. You found your calling.
Thank you.
What does the future hold for you, and what does the future hold for WD Detailing?
That's a very good question. I absolutely love what I do. I finally found something that gets me out of bed every day. It's all I can really think about lately. Kind of how Mr. Beast talks about how the only thing he talks about YouTube, or he thinks about is YouTube. It's not the only thing I think about, but it's really what my day-to-day mindset is it revolves around YouTube. So I think moving forward, we're just going to keep doing what we do. We're going to stay humble. We're going to stay dedicated to the grind and try to keep putting out the best content we can, because that's what we love to do. We don't have any crazy changes coming, besides hopefully doing some cool stuff with you.
Collaborations, and
But nothing insane that I can really think of off the top of my head.
Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to explore differently? Say this channel, explodes even more, and there's a pet project or a passion project or something else that you still want to do this, but do something else.
I think it would be cool to help other people kind of start their own thing and mentor them.
You're going to be mentoring me.
Exactly. So helping you with taking your social media to the next level. I have a lot of free time because I've really taken what we do with WD and I've pretty much perfected the day-to-day. So the editing, the posting, all of that stuff. I've got it down to a science.
And not to toot his own horn, but I've watched him today, and he's just like what I am to sanding and buffing, he is to a computer and editing. I mean, he can just sit there and to like this to do, and not even think twice. It's very unconscious for you to do that. I could tell. You don't even think. You just react. And that's a sign of someone that really knows their stuff. And
thank you.
It's really cool to see someone that and it's like, we taught you how to do some cool chrome polishing and use some alternative methods on some of the disaster details.
That's something I'd also like to explore more.
And we put a razor blade in your hands and took out some scratches. And it's really cool for me to see. And it doesn't matter if you're quilting your grandmother's sweater or you're doing YouTube or taking a razor blade to paint. To see someone really passionate about what they do and very good at what they do, I think it's an inspiration. And that's really what this podcast is all about, is really inspiring people, showing them that you can do something with your talents and your passions. And I really believe that if you have a passion and you're persistent about what you're doing, you're going to be successful. And obviously you guys have become very successful, and you guys are just starting out, and that's the scary thing. Like, where is YouTube going to be in the next 5 years? Where is it going to be in the next 10 years?
That means a lot coming from you, especially. And just to touch on what you said real quick, I've seen the same from what you said about me. I've seen the same about you, because like, we put you on our Instagram story and we have people messaging us like, oh my gosh, that's Jason Killmer. I want to come hang out with you guys, like just to see how people react to you being here, and just how amazing it's been to hang out with you. I think you're one of the coolest, most down-to-earth guys I've ever met, and especially for being so renowned and so high level in the industry. It's almost weird to see someone so like a master be so down to earth, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
And not too high horse, you know.
And I just like people, because these cars, this YouTube thing, it's about people. At the end of the day, when that car that we did, the grandmother, not the Bel Air, the other one. That we've worked on. You'll see that in the future.
Can't say what it is yet.
The person's going to come and see the car. And you know what's going to happen, and I do. You're going to have an emotional, teary-eye breakdown.
That's... So I don't want to say that's what we hope for, but at the same time...
Well, it's going to happen. And you can't put a price on that. That's emotions that you're tugging on the heartstrings of people, right? And you can't put a price on that. And if you can make a living out of that, helping people out and showing them that, hey, if you do have a will, there is a way, and you can do this. And man, like, that's powerful. And then on top of that, then if you're good at it, that's even better, you know?
It's just super cool that you were able to stay humble throughout every award you've won and everything you've done. It's just, I like that about you a lot.
Well, I wish I can inspire more people to do the very best they can do and be the best they can do. And you can still be one of the best and still say, man, that's a nice guy. Because at the end of the day, you can be the best out there, but if you have a bad attitude or you're unapproachable, what good is it? It's about inspiring other people to be the best that they can be.
Well, that's also why I didn't even finish my thought when I was talking about it, but when you were complimenting me about the editing, I want to take some people under my wing because I'm a little bit higher level as well with the editing and social media and stuff, and I want to teach people how they can create a brand and how they can monetize it and make a living out of it, and just full-time income, passive income.
Well, and here's another thing. By you doing that and accepting that, that's helping your anxiety.
Yeah.
Like,
it has tenfold, hundredfold.
Yeah, and even RJ told me, because I knew you dealt with anxiety, and I deal with anxiety at a little bit different levels, but I do. And by helping people out, it helps my anxiety lessen. You know, so yeah, it's crazy how it all works together, but it does. And you know, when I leave a project or when I leave somewhere, I want people to be happy that I came, not be like, oh, see you later, pal. Like, glad he's gone. You know, I want people to be excited. I want to be excited. You know, and it doesn't work out all the times, but most times it does. And man, that's when you know you did something right. You may have messed up and not done a good job. You know, say you have a bad video, right? And you didn't edit like, maybe you wanted it a little bit better. But as long as you try your best and you do the very best you can do, you're going to have your good days and your bad days.
Always,
you know,
yes,
and it's just, it's you know, join the struggle bus. You know, I say, come on the struggle bus, because we all struggle, right? And it's, I think getting it out there and just saying, hey, I struggle with these things, you know, and because other people struggle with it too. Yeah. So you're helping yourself out by helping others out. You're turning an internal conflict into external conflict, and you're letting people know that, hey, I deal with the same stuff you do.
And I've actually talked about it on our channel before. I don't know if you've ever seen the specific videos that I've mentioned it, but I love talking about it because I think it's good to be open. I think it's good to let people know that they're not alone. And just because we have a big YouTube channel and big whatever, doesn't make me any different from you or anybody else. I'm still a normal human being, still just a regular person. I do regular things every single day. So just the fact that we have the audience we have and we can connect to people on an emotional level, it's amazing. I love it.
You can't put a price on that. So with that, we've covered a lot of stuff. Is there anything else you want to add?
Go follow Jason Killmer on Instagram.
Well, this is my podcast. Most of them probably do already.
Well, if you don't, make sure.
Yeah. So I would say follow, if you don't follow WD Detailing on YouTube.
Yeah.
What's your other social medias?
You can find us anywhere. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. You search WD Detailing, you'll find us.
Yeah, they're a pretty big deal. So I appreciate you bringing me out, I appreciate you taking great care of me by feeding me and giving me lots of coffee. Usually I have a coffee cup right now. But man, I'm excited. I thank you. And it was a great time just chatting and sitting on these really nice these were chairs.
From my old house growing up. Nice. But thank you. This was my first podcast ever. I hope I did an okay job.
You did a great job.
And I really look forward to seeing what we do in the future, what you do in the future, and what we do together.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, guys. I'm going to sign off. Jason from Driven by Details. Again, Maddie is up in Michigan with Davey P. And they're slaving over a car right now, and I'm here. And next week we'll continue. I think next week we're going to have your business partner, RJ, on the podcast, and we've got some pretty cool guests coming up. I think we have pretty much all the guests we need for this entire year. Wow. I think I have about 50 or 60 just on my list alone of different business people and detailing and cars, and we're just going to try to all combine it together. So it's going to be an exciting ride this year, and stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.